Tom, in your lecture today, and in this really wonderful book that you've written with Edward Everding, So That All May Know, you've really pushed us, inspired us to preach in a way that it can engage all facets, all members of the congregation. And one of the points that you stressed was that we should reflect on the developmental process by which children know. Help us understand why that's so important.
Yes. It's important for a number of reasons. And I think the one that would most immediately come to mind for many preachers is that children are often present, and they would like to be able to communicate the gospel or the word of God to children. And that's one very important reason. But the other reason is that children have wisdom that we adults need. And let me just tell a small story there, which I think makes the point very, very clear. I once had a student, a woman student, who had a daughter who was about 3.5 or 4 years old, and they were driving to an important medical appointment. They needed to get there on time. And as they approached the church, the little girl said to her mommy, she said, "Mommy, we need to stop to feed the baby Jesus." Her mother was kind of flummoxed by this and said, "What do you mean?" And she says, "Well, last week I saw the baby Jesus was born in church." And her mother remembered they'd gone to this Christmas pageant. And she said, "Oh, honey, that was just a pageant. That was only a pageant." And the little girl says, "Oh, no, I saw it. I actually saw the baby Jesus there. Who's going to feed the baby Jesus?" And the little girl got more and more upset, very upset. Finally, the mother, in desperation, thought, "Well, honey, the shepherds will feed the baby Jesus." And the little girl said, "Oh, okay, so we don't have to stop. We can go on." Now, when we hear a story like that, we adults sometimes are amused, or we think it's cute or clever. But actually, the more you think about it, it's a profound story, because there is a great question: who will feed the baby Jesus? Who will feed Christ and the starving and in the hungry? So by thinking like a child and hearing what children have to ask us, we are reminded of profound things that otherwise we might lose from our consciousness or be just completely oblivious to. And I think this is in part what Christ means when he says, unless we become like children, we cannot enter the reign of God. So it's not that the child is cute or entertaining, it's that the child has genuine wisdom that we adults need. And preachers can build such wisdom into their sermons. They can talk with children about passages ahead of time. I found that's often a wonderful way to get insight into a passage that would elude me in my adult reasoning.